Because we're going to move on to another exclusive now. TalkTV can reveal that a report into how 27 migrants drowned in the English Channel after being abandoned by the French coastguard is set to be published within days. The long-awaited maritime investigation will detail the British response to the 2021 tragedy, which became the worst disaster in the Channel for 30 years. French authorities failed to respond when an overloaded dinghy began to sink off the Calais coast, well inside French waters. 27 of the 30 migrants on board drowned during the catastrophic delay before a UK Border Force clipper crossed the sea border in a desperate rescue bid. Despite Britain forking out £600 million to help Paris tackle the small boats crisis, critics claim French authorities are leaving British ships to operate a migrant taxi service. And you know, as we look at this, it's a sort of single tragedy, if you like, but it's a long litany of problems that we have in relation to this. We're handing over an awful lot of money to the French. It's clearly not working. The government keeps citing and saying that the number of migrants has reduced as a result of their measures. No, it's because we've had bad weather. And we haven't also got good value for money or indeed visibility for the £600 million we're spending. And it seems as if we apply one set of rules. So I think the British are very helpful and diligent and get out and try and rescue people and make sure that they can get across, and have a different approach to the French, who like turn them around, move them away, don't want to get involved. So I genuinely think that whatever processes we have, that needs to be the same across the Channel, and we need to get more effective money, if you like, spent and value for money for the money that we hand over to.
And also, we're going to think about the French here. If the story is true, I believe it is. The report, we expect to confirm what TalkTV revealed today. The French coastguards received 15 distress calls from this dinghy, this small boat that was going down. And they basically said, well, why don't you edge yourself into British waters? They'll pick you up, because that's the French business model. It's to get the migrants off the beaches, onto the Channel and over to Britain. To stop, we give Macron 600 million quid. He was never going to stop the boats. If he stops the boats, if he stops the migrants leaving France, it's a vote loser for him.
And he has to keep them.
Yeah, so the French cannot wait to say goodbye to them. Now, the problem with that is if it gets too extreme, you get a situation like this where the French Coast Guard go, no, just carry on, you'll be OK, and 27 people drowned, and that's the worst tragedy in the English Channel for 30 years. So there's a real international scandal here where 27 people perished when they didn't need to, and it's all to do with the French attitude to the migrant crisis, which is, thanks very much, Rishi, for the 600 grand, but we're going to do nothing.
Million.
We're going to do nothing.
But don't you
600 million, sorry, 600 grand, that wouldn't be too bad.
There is a broader problem that is out with the boundaries of Britain or France, and that is the dehumanising way in which we talk about immigrants in boats, that somehow they're subhuman, their lives are worthless. We saw an equivalent tragedy happen off the Greek coast not so long ago, and it was at the same time as the Titanic capsule disappeared, and the disproportionate attention that was given to one tragedy vis-a-vis the other tragedy, their lives are not valued in the same way.
I think that's a slightly different thing, though, Tessa, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's. I don't think it's about the fact that, you know, that it's not proportionate. I mean, the point about the Titanic, the submersible, that was missing was a one-off incident, and unfortunately what happens to the migrants is not a one-off, and that is the problem, is that you know, we can always point to say, you know, are we doing enough about this, are we talking enough about this? But as I said, there was a difference in the fact that one story was
well, with the Titanic it was still missing. The story was there's hope.
Yes.
With the migrants it was
but the truth is, if it was 27 individuals in that boat from European countries, they would have been shooting out and looking after them, whether they were British rescuers or French.
Yeah, if it was a one-off, but if it happened again and again and again.
I think
what Penny says is that when you look at the news agenda, in the same way, we don't have the footage and the information going back to our discussions about Israel and Hamas and Palestinians, but we have this fresh new information. So we see these appalling shots that can be seen day after day after day of these appalling tragedies. We don't have the 1,400 people who were slaughtered slaughtered, murdered, raped, beheaded and all that sort of business, because if we did, it would be a bigger story because we would have that collateral. So I think it's partly about how the news works, how it uses various different materials. I don't think it's about dehumanisation, but I think it's also that there is an element of fatigue because there are so many people who are coming across.